I'm here with Brandon Royval, who returns to action next weekend against Askar Askarov. Brandon, how are you?
Good in yourself.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be talking with you again. I did want to ask you, bro, is it Brandon Royval or Brandon Royval?
Royval.
Royval.
Royval. Yeah, everybody always says Val. I never mind the way it sounded, but my parents are always like, yo, why the fuck don't you ever correct anybody? And I'm like, I don't know. But it's Royval. Everybody announces it wrong and they like it, but I don't know. I always like the way it sounded.
Well, boom. Well, there. Now you finally set the record straight, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I probably should have done that a while ago, but yeah.
Oh man, you're 8 days out. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Just kind of ready to go. And, just I want to eat again mainly. Is I'm hungry and I want to go out there and get this all over with and continue my life.
No, absolutely, absolutely, man. All right. So it's been 5 months since your fight at UFC 274. The whole week, my biggest under the radar storyline was that it was your first fight in front of a sold out UFC crowd.
Yeah.
How was that, man?
Oh, it was the best moment of my life. I wish I could just relive it over and over again, man. It was literally like I remember like walking out and I was like, this could be like the greatest moment of my life. You know what I'm saying? And like I knew it already was, like it already was the walkout and all that stuff, but I'm like, who knows if I ever walk out in front of a UFC crowd again or what happens in my career or what happens next. So I was thinking that when I'm walking out, I'm like, today's my day and I'm not going to let this dude take it away from me today. You know what I'm saying? So I had that all going through my head and it was just like everything I've ever wanted. It's a dream come true. And then, I'm like one of those lucky, there's a lot of them at this point, but a few of the people who are able to gain fans before I was able to walk out in front of a crowd. So I walked out and the crowd was very raw dog friendly in a sense, you know what I'm saying? So it was really cool, man. It was really cool. And then having people like actually cheer for me and then were actually rooting for me from the get-go was also super cool.
Yeah, no, man. It's like you're one of those fighters where it's like you want to like you feed off the crowd and you're a fan favorite, so you want to see that energy. And I think it lived up to the expectations because the crowd was going nuts during your fight.
Yeah, yeah. And it was a straight firefight right off the bat. Matt Snell was already ready for all that too. He came straight across the arena and caught me off guard, but I thought I was going to be the one pressing the action, chasing him down and all that. And then we just met right in the center and just started throwing down. And I was like, oh shit, I guess this is his game plan too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a perfect fight for your first fight in front of crowds too, because it was wild. It was wild, man. How do you feel about that performance?
I wasn't necessarily happy about it. I literally had like a whole entire game plan of like what I was gonna do, how I was gonna approach it, and a million things. And I thought right off the bat, Matt Snell would be circling the cage and dancing around and doing all this stuff where I'd have to find him, and I had a game plan for it. And we pretty much touched gloves, and then right after that, he fired a three-piece, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And it kind of just went into my normal instincts. It was one of those fights too that was like, I'm happy I won, and I'm happy I was able to get in and out of there, but I wanted it to play out a little bit because I had a lot in store that I've been working on. I've been trying to change about myself, and a lot I wanted to work specifically in that fight with Matt Schnell because I knew it was going to be like primarily a striking battle. So there's a lot I wanted to work there, and it it pretty much went right back to just being a fight. I don't know, it went right into fight or flight mode and just started swinging, and I was like, all right, cool. I guess this is what we're doing.
Yeah, man, it lived up to expectations. So now you're going back to the apex. All the fighters were like it's like blue balls where it's like you get this all this energy, sold out crowd, and you go back to the apex, and it's like ugh. So are you disappointed that you're back at the apex, or is it just kind of like it is what it is? You'll fight wherever, and
Yeah,
and that that you're going to be fighting in front of a crowd soon enough.
yeah. So the fight was supposed to be in Abu Dhabi. We're supposed to be on the Abu Dhabi card and all that, but my coach had like a little bit of a scheduling issue that wasn't going to allow for us to be there. So we asked for it for the week ahead. So I mean, I would have been stoked because like walking into like where people are cheering you was amazing, but there's part of me that's just like I want to walk into enemy territory and like what I'm saying. So it would have been cool to walk into Abu Dhabi, probably get booed or whatever the case is out there, and I'm sure they're really Askarov heavy out there. So just kind of see what I'd have to deal with on that side of things too, because that's always been a little bit of a dream too, is just walk into enemy's territory and then make a whole entire country upset.
Oh, absolutely, man. That's what movies are made for, right? Like you go into enemy territory and upset
Yeah.
upset the enemy.
I know I was gonna try to have a Rocky moment, you know what I'm saying? Where, if I could change and you could change, we could all change. Yeah, I want one of those moments where but it is what it is, man. And I mean, either way, I'm gonna go out there guns a blazing and try to steal the show. So that's my game plan for the fight. Anyways, is just go in there and put it like a raw dog type performance, just go balls to the wall with it. And I like that idea, and I like the like. I don't know. I like that. Like we're kind of one of the main attractions in the show too, because I feel like I would have been drowned out with that amazing card.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Did you see earlier this week that you were on the prelims for some reason?
No, I never really checked on that. I had a bunch of like I don't get on my Twitter that much, but when I do, it's always like wild and all that. But yeah, I saw something like a quick tag of like, oh, they'll probably put Royval on the prelims. But I mean, like I said, I've been disrespected left and right in this business. I've been on all the prelims, even though I'm fighting like the higher ranked opponents and all that stuff. Is Pantoja and I, and then also Moreno and I fought for title eliminator, where it was discussed that this is a title eliminator on the prelims, and I was like, damn. Like,
It's ridiculous. It's wild. I did want to ask, did you want to return sooner than 5 months, or is it kind of like, or is it like now that you're literally one fight away from a title shot, possibly, like now do you have to kind of take whoever you're fighting into like real consideration? Like you don't want to fight backwards. You don't want to like, you know.
yeah, so they offered me a fight like pretty much right after, and it probably like this month or something. They offered me a fight, but it was like some dude ranked number like 7 or 8, and it was like my last 3 fights is like I go beat number 7, and then it's like okay, then they have a new number 7, and then I go beat him, and then it was like I just didn't want to continue the pattern, and I knew like Askarov was an option. I knew Kai France would probably be getting thrown at me pretty soon here, and then I didn't know what exactly was going to happen with the Moreno, Figgy, and Pantoja thing. So it's like if Figgy was stepping away, or if Moreno, or like if Figgy was going to step away, which I kept hearing rumors of, then it's Moreno and Pantoja, and then it's like, yo, might as well fight Askarov and title eliminator, or Kai France in like a title eliminator type of fight. And yeah, so I was just I wanted to play my cards right, but I didn't want to take this long of a break, and I know Askarov was injured, so I had to wait a little bit for that to come up, and this was the soonest that he could have been back. So this is what was offered to me. This is a great chance to move up, and I just want to get my name back in that title discussion as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, and a win over Askarov will definitely do that. One last thing before we talk about that fight. It's crazy, like everyone talks of like has these fighters of like these top prospects or top contenders, but I think sometimes you're left out of that conversation, but I think people don't remember, like your first fight was against Tim Elliott in the promotion, and you fought nothing but ranked fighters since. Like
Yeah.
even like he was ranked, and like you fought nothing but contenders your whole way in the UFC so far. Like it's nuts.
Yeah. I've never had like anything below top 10 opponents right now. So like I've literally been fighting pretty much after my second fight. I've been in title discussion this whole entire time. So it's been pretty cool. It's been exciting, and it's like it's also just proves that something that I knew for a long time. It's just that I'm better than a lot of these guys in the UFC and stuff. And it was just kind of right timing, right place, all that stuff, that it was just able to kind of equate and just turn into what it was. But I was like trying to tell, like, I'm like, I know I could beat these dudes. I'm watching these guys on TV, and it's like I know I could beat that guy. Like I'm watching his technique, all this stuff, and I'm like I just couldn't wait for my opportunity to prove it. And I'm just happy that I was able to capitalize and then be in the top 10. And then and also like I say this shit, and I say that I know, but it's like you don't really know. I'm just saying it in my head. And I'm like, it looks like I could beat him in my head, like like I know I could. like as far as that goes, it's like you don't really know. So it's just been like it's been an interesting couple of years of where it's like, you know, I now believe that I'm the best in the world, and it was like I said that for years, but I never believed it. You know what I'm saying? I never really believed it, but it's like I go against the best in the world, and I'm brushing shoulders with these guys, and it's like I've been in the cage with our current champion or whatever it is, Moreno, and it's like I don't know, man. It's like I'm right there, and I know my skills are the same, are better, are all that, you know. And it's just, I don't know. It's been a great discovery to just realize, like, hey, I'm not only here, but I belong, and I'm the top of the division, and it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, it's been such a fun run, and it's been so fun to watch you climb these ranks and stay there. Like, you know, you have not dropped off. You submitted Tim Elliott and Kai Kara France in your first two fights within like five months of each other. Like
Yeah,
that's and then you fought the current interim champion right after that. It's like
yeah. It's cool too because it's cool seeing Kai Car France do well and like kind of being able to compare that. But it was like when I was fighting Kai Car France, like I was 2 months off of quitting a full time job. You know what I'm saying? And then also with like Tim Allen and Kai Car France is like I could say it now, but I had a huge. I was going in there with a huge shoulder injury, so it was like I was hardly even practicing. Like I was just running and then watching practice, and then you know no grappling whatsoever. You know, and and to go in those like 3 fights and then honestly 4 fights because I rushed the Pantoja comeback too. It was like I went into 4 fights super compromised, and now it's just like I can train full time. My body feels great. I'm not facing anything crazy, knock on wood, but I'm not crazy injuries. Whereas like beforehand, my shoulder was popping out every few seconds, and then leading up to the Pantoja fight, I was only cleared by the doctors for a month and a half to right before the fight. So it was like it's a 6 month surgery. I got the Pantoja fight 8 months in, so it was like a month and a half of actually full on training and grappling against someone that I now like consider probably one of the more dangerous people in the flyweight division. And it was like, you know, I played a lot of things, not the smartest, but that being said, is I was on a run, and I knew that like I was like, okay, I belong, and it's like now that I'm here, I just want to fucking make as much noise, as much money, and all that as possible because you know the UFC career doesn't last forever.
no, absolutely, absolutely, and you're doing a fantastic job of that, man. Um, and talking about fighting contenders, you got another one right. You got another one next week with Askarov, man. Firstly, what are your thoughts on him as an opponent?
As an opponent, I mean, the I've been watching Askarov. I remember like when I was working and all that stuff, I was watching him on one of my breaks, and like I'm like, damn, this Russian kid's good, you know. And watching him in the ABC promotion or whatever he was in, and he was beating like high level opponents, and he was maybe 6-0 and all that stuff, and just kind of coming up. So I've actually watched Askarov come up, but as an opponent, I'm not like I don't know, I'm not huge like fan of his necessarily. Like I'm not like, oh, like he's so fun to watch. Oh, like I don't like when I fought Matt, I was like, damn, I want to get a picture with this dude. You know what I'm saying? But like Askarov, it's like he's cool, man. And he's obviously a worthy adversary. He's only had one loss, and even then, it was like somewhat controversial. I thought he lost it, but that being said, is like it was a controversial fight. So it's like he's virtually 14-0 almost. And when you go against someone like that, one, it's scary, and especially off him coming off his first loss. I know he's hungry. But that being said, is I just think I have more tools in my toolbox for him, and I think I'm just the scarier, more dangerous opponent. And it's like I have a lot of respect for him. I think what he does really well as far as wrestling and all that stuff. But that being said, it's just I feel like I'm way scarier everywhere. It's like I have a strong submission game, and I throw knees, elbows, head kicks, all the above. And it's like the submission game isn't where I go to. I try to strike with these people. They're trying to take me down. You know, I have some of the best strikers in the division shooting in on me in the first minutes of the fight. You know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, do you expect him to come out with his wrestling shoes immediately and just try and take you down?
Yeah, maybe not immediately, but he's going to be putting those wrestling shoes on for sure the first round and the second round and however long it continues. Because I couldn't imagine him wanting to go out there and try to strike with me. And if he does, then hey, blessings on blessings. I would love that. I would really love to just have a nice kickboxing match against Askarov, but I'm not really. I didn't really plan for that, and I didn't necessarily think that he's planning on that either. So it's like, but if he does decide to go that route, then make your bets now.
For sure. With that, when with that wrestling, has that been something that you've been kind of just drilling over and over and over and over this camp?
Yeah, I do wrestling. We normally do it at least twice a week. But I do wrestling 3 extra times now. I have but one of my training partners is like a really accomplished wrestler named Jacoby Jones, and he fights the day before me, and it was just really awesome. So we could prepare for camp, but then I was just getting privates from him left and right, and it was just like my wrestling's never been bad in real life. Like in training, it's never been bad, but in fighting, I could care less about wrestling or any of that stuff because I've always been so successful off my back, and most of my wins became off my back. So it was just like I don't necessarily ever care to like defend a takedown until like probably this fight is where I'm like, I'm gonna try to defend a takedown. We're gonna wrestle a little bit, and then just see, because it's like I'm assuming I'm gonna hit my back some point or another, but it's just like I don't want to make it easy for them. I want to stop making these takedowns easy for people where I'm having close fights based off of them getting a takedown and holding me as tight as they can for 20 seconds, and people are like, well, that fight was close, and it's like, was it close, or was this dude just trying to negate the fight the whole entire time and avoid getting killed? So it's like I don't know. I don't know. So for me, it's just I just want to make it a little bit more difficult for him to take me down, make him work a little harder. And the plan isn't to defend the takedown because I could care less if I fight off my back, but I don't want to make it easy for him.
Gotcha. I talked with Jacoby on Wednesday, and he had nothing but great things to say about you, obviously. And with you being such a veteran of Factor X, is it cool seeing all these new guys coming in and it's like looking at you as like the guy?
Yeah, it's weird because like I've been at Factor X probably the longest than anybody. I've been with Mark since like I was thinking about it, like 13 or 14 years. So I've been with him for a long time. Since I was 16 years old, I've known Mark and worked with him. And he started Factory X, and then I came over a little bit late. But as far as like current students go, I think it's Dustin or me, and then Dustin Jacoby's like the second longest student there. And it's like we've been doing this for years together and all that stuff, but yeah, man, it's super interesting. It's super interesting to go like I go to the open, they call open classes, like the beginner advanced classes of like students that are like coming up. So I do a lot of those classes too, and it's just cool because I get to interact with like the new guys coming in, and it's like a lot of like the young teenagers and all the guys that are aspiring fighters and all that. They come in, they're like, hey, like I came in here because of you, man. I'm a huge fan of you, and it's like it's all just like great. Like I don't know, it's great, but yeah, it's different. But I've been that team captain. I've been the team captain of Factor X for probably like 7 years. I don't know, but a lot like before the UFC. And I remember I was a team captain before I was ever saying anything, and there's like all that. But like now it's like now I'm so like I don't know. I'm like a veteran of the sport. I've been doing this for so long, and then it's like also I'm also one of the higher ranked around the gym as far as like even numerically, not just to mention of years put in and time served and all that stuff. But it's just like it's weird because I've had to take like a little bit of a leadership role, and it's like like when I talk, people listen, and it's crazy because it's just you know. It, I guess I was able to grow with Factory X, and that's
Mm.
super important to me. Is like I watched this where we didn't have any dudes in the UFC, or just Chris Camozzi was in the UFC, and from there to now, like watch how big we've grown, and people calling all around the world, and like trying to be a part of our team and a part of all that, where we have like a waiting list of people to try out to come join our team and all that stuff. And it's been crazy, man. It's been a crazy ride, and I don't know, man. I'm happy that I can go with it, and then I'm also happy I can just interact and have like somewhat of like influence in some of these guys' careers, like Jacoby Jones, who's going to end up being a huge star one day, and a huge star in the sport. And it's like, dang, I can like kind of mold him a little bit better. Like, I was a part of like MMA fighting and Mark Montoya's program when we were all just beating the shit out of each other. Like when we're like trying to knock people out every day. And it was like, that was just how we did it. And like, that's how the sport was back in the day. But it's like, now it's like we go about things so scientifically, and it's a smooth running program, and we years of growth together, and it's just awesome to be a part of that.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for sharing that. And then so with that being said, who are some of the Factor X prospects, like maybe even regional fighters that people should be looking out for? There's Jacoby Jones. We all know about Harris Talunzik. There's all these guys on the regional show, but who do you think people should be
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
out for?
So the whole bond ring fight, I had this kid. Um, Maybe he's been doing MMA for like a year, less than a year, and or he's been doing it for longer than a year now, but at the time of the Bontrain fight, he's probably 1 year. And I've been telling him, I'm like, bro, like, he's an engineer. He's a smart kid. He's an engineer. I'm like, bro, quit your fucking job. If you want to be a UFC fighter, like, this is it for you. Like, bro, you have it. Like, he has everything, you know? And like, but then again, I was just watching him today, and this is like one that specifically stands out. His name's Luis Goulet. He's a 125er, and he's money, man. And I don't know. He was my Bontarine the whole entire camp. And he made life hell for me too. Like, it wasn't like I was like, oh, this is an easy round. Like, I'm gonna go get this job done. I remember I'm like, God damn, I got 3 rounds with this fool right now. Like, this is gonna suck. And you know, he's mean. He brings it, and it was like we've been trying to convince him because he was one of the open students, and we're like, dude, come join our team. Like, we need you, want you, like all the above, you know. And he's one of those rising prospects that, as of right now, stands out, and then also just been like a main weapon for me in these last few years of just like helping me out. And then and like he was a great Askarov for this fight. He fought recently, but yeah, he has more knockouts than me already. He has like 3 knockouts. He has 3 knockouts all in the first round, and I think he's 3-0. But yeah, he's about to win another fight pretty much a month after me. So he's, as far as like rising prospects that I brush shoulders with, is up there for sure, man. He's the greatest. But we have a bunch at Factory X. I could go on for days with all these guys.
I talked with Louis Goulet too, and man, he's like you said, he's very smart, but he is a fucking killer, and he knocks fools dead. And you know, like that's what people want to see with flyweights, man. Like they want to see finishes, and he's a finisher, and obviously you're a finisher. So it's just so awesome to see this, like the flyweights flourishing right now, you know.
Yeah, and we complement each other really well because I'm like long and lengthy and like finessey, and he's just like brutal, gets it done, and like I don't know, he's just like the exact opposite of me, but I love it, and it's like we need each other. Him and I, and you're gonna need each other, and especially now that he's growing and fighting tougher opponents. That I'm grateful for him, man.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. All right. Well, at the end of the day, October 15th, how do you get your hand raised?
By any means necessary, I'm gonna bite this dude. I'm gonna go run up on him, just snatch everything from him. But honestly, man, I think the first round and a half is gonna be fairly competitive, and then from there, I'm just gonna keep pressing on the gas and then take something home. I'm hoping I can get it done on the feet. But that being said, I think a lot of it's gonna probably take place on the ground. So for me, it's just lay a high pace on him and then let him find a way out any which way, and I'll give it to him.
Awesome. And then finally for me, 1 week after your fight, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. I just want your thoughts on that fight and who's winning.
Oh, my boy Charles Oliveira is gonna take that W. He's gonna that's another thing is like, you know, Charles Oliveira is someone that I don't know, man. I've just been a huge fan of forever. And it's like when he came on the show, I'm like, or when he stepped on the scene, I'm like, that's the fucking future right there. That's a future champion. And it's so cool to just see him, one, overcome a bunch of stuff, but also just make it happen and be as dangerous as he is and as exciting as he is. And it's just like that dude's someone that I aspire to try to fight like every time I step in the cage, you know?
I mean, it's a great fighter to look forward to, and I mean, you're basically the flyweight Charles Oliveira in my eyes, man.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times. I like the comparison where it's like, you know, I'll take some damage, but it's like, go ahead and jump on the ground with me afterwards. Let's see what happens, you know?
Absolutely. Brandon, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. If you want to plug your social media, plug any sponsors you might have, and if you want to thank anybody, the floor is yours.
Yeah. EAP Glass, Denver, Colorado. They've been supporting me throughout my career, got me through injuries. They got me through a lot of stuff, man. And I wouldn't be anywhere without them. So EAP Glass down in Denver, man. So thank you. And thank you for your free time, bro. I appreciate you.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKickMMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.